Hey everyone, welcome to Locked On Lakers for Thursday. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky, a thriller in San Francisco on Christmas Day. The Lakers win on a last-second Austin Reaves shot, a triple-double for Austin, a great game from LeBron, plenty to celebrate on Locked On Lakers next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers your first listen of every day, Monday through Friday. No matter how or where you get your podcasts, it's always free. Never behind a paywall. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where over 26,000 subscribers to the channel are all happy to hear that Anthony Davis, after leaving the game in the first half with an ankle problem, said after the game he was going to play on Saturday at home against Sacramento. Whether he will or will not, we do not know, but the fact that he's even talking in those terms makes it much easier, Andy, to get excited and celebrate the other bit of news on the day that the Lakers actually won the game against Golden State. 115-113 was the final. A last-second drive to the bucket and a finish for Austin Reaves. He had 26 points, none more important than those final two, to go along with 10 rebounds and 10 assists in the vernacular, Andy. They call that a triple-double. LeBron 31 and 10 from an assist standpoint, only one turnover. A lot to like in this game, especially, Andy, considering that they played the vast majority of it without Anthony Davis.
And without D'Angelo Russell, who missed this game. He incurred. This is interesting, and I guess in some respects we owe the listeners an apology from the show a couple days ago after the Detroit loss. We had said that D'Lo, it seemed like, got yanked after a very bad pass to LeBron turned into a turnover and a score for Detroit. D'Lo left the game after that, did not play at all. And during the broadcast itself and any news about the game and also any news that we had heard up to that point, there had been no word about D'Lo hurting his hand/thumb. So from our perspective, we just figured he's not playing well in this game anyway. That was a really egregious turnover. He got yanked. And there have been a few times this year where JJ Redick has sat D'Lo because of bad play. As it turned out, he incurred a thumb injury during that game.
Yeah, once you're that low on dudes, to go in and we look, obviously the Warriors are slumping. They have, after a really hot start, have slowed down considerably. I mean, everybody, I think, gets that. But the circumstances here, big Christmas Day game, to go out and you win when you're down two key rotation players, including your star, I think qualifies as a really solid win for the Lakers. Do want to let people know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. We talked about Austin Reaves, talked about LeBron. I think, in terms of the work that the team did, the performances start there. I mean, a lot of good frontline performances from the Lakers. You got 18 from Rui, you got 31 from LeBron, 26 from Austin Reaves, 16 from Christie. Another solid day for him in terms of point production. Dalton Connect off the bench, his most productive game in a while with 13 points, although most of that came from inside the three-point arc. He only made one three-pointer. On a day where Anthony Davis wasn't available for all intents and purposes, this was a game that you needed those other guys to score. Could not be all on LeBron. He gave you the 31. It was a matter of who else was going to give you what you needed offensively, and the Lakers got a lot of it from a lot of different sources. But I'll tell you, Andy, like LeBron talked about it after the game, big picture, there are not a lot of opportunities left, just mathematically. There just aren't, for LeBron and Steph Curry to go out and put on a show and do that for a crowd, for a national TV audience on Christmas. This is one of those things that you got to enjoy it while you can. And both of them feel compelled whenever possible to put on a real show for everybody watching. They got it tonight. We mentioned LeBron's numbers. Steph went for breaking out of his slump. Steph went for 38. including a couple huge threes near the end of the game to get the Warriors back into it and give them a chance to win. So 8 of 15 from 3-point range for Curry. This was one of those kind of classic star versus star kind of super entertaining Christmas Day matchups. Like, this is what the NBA is hoping to see when they put the Warriors and the Lakers on TV at 5 o'clock Pacific time on Christmas.
Yeah, the great David Aldridge with The Athletic, long time with TNT, the NBA itself, Hall of Famer, this coverage tweeted out, and I think he said it very well. I'm just going to say this has been a hell of a day of games in the NBA. Don't care who did and didn't watch. If you watch the NFL, cool. Doesn't change the fact that the hoop has been great. And, we are recording during the Phoenix-Denver game, but the opening 4 games were all terrific. And, LeBron, and this is coming at a time where not just the NFL is trying to horn in on the NBA's Christmas Day action, but there has been a lot of loud recurring what's wrong with the NBA these days. Too many threes. The All-Star game sucks. Yada, yada, yada. LeBron was asked after the game, what are some of the great things still happening in the NBA? And he said, I think half joking, half dead ass serious, LeBron and Steph. These are the type of matchups. And, ESPN did that OG's pregame interview with LeBron and Steph and KD sitting down together, and just, the Olympic OG trio, and them just talking about their careers. And, the three of them have all played against each other for NBA championships. And it's beyond the fact that they're all 3 all-time greats. In the case, LeBron definitively, I think Steph pretty definitively, KD in the conversation for top 10 of all time. These are all-time great players. And to your point, we should appreciate when they go off. It is predictable, of course, that Steph would break out of that slump tonight, because it had been, we spent a lot of time talking about LeBron's, bad couple weeks. The last few games for Steph leading into this one had been horrible.
Yeah, and LeBron, I mean, I think it's clear to me, at least. I'm not demanding perfection from the guy, but it's pretty clear to me that LeBron has moved through whatever was ailing him in that stretch. In terms
for now, at least,
right? I mean, I didn't say he's going to be awesome forever or whatever, but I'm just saying he's playing back to the level that you need from him, and he's doing
without
it
question
while contributing much more significantly on the defensive side of the ball than he was before. So you're getting, important contributions from him in places that you need it. In particular, again, when Anthony Davis isn't there, it's not just the offense that picks up. And this is something that we can carry on, the rest of this conversation after the break. But there are a couple moments, and you and I were actually sitting watching the game together. It was Christmas, our families were together hanging out and all that. And so we're just watching the game. And there were a couple possessions, more than a couple, where, Golden State gets penetration and scores relatively uncontested, if not completely uncontested. And you look at it, you're like, oh, come on, where's the Lakers without Anthony Davis in the lineup have no rim protectors. Like, it's, you can't lean on Christian Coloco then to turn around and play 35 minutes in a game like this, because the Lakers need some shot blocking. It's not that they can't make a rotation, challenge at the basket, do like the mistakes were made and people, but in terms of Anthony Davis type guys who make people think once they are going into the lane, weak side helpers who are going to come and alter the shots of an opponent, whatever that might be, like what we think of when we think of real rim protection and a rim deterrent. The Lakers just don't have that. And so on a day like Wednesday, when Anthony Davis isn't there, everyone's got to play really hard. And so LeBron, it's got to be led by LeBron. And like we are seeing from him, we'll talk about this after the break, the carry through isn't just his offensive numbers going, he only had 1 turnover on Wednesday. It's that the consistency of the defensive output has been there. So we'll get to all that next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Game Time. The best concert I have ever seen in my life is Parliament, Funkadelic, 1992, Hollywood, the Palladium. They played for like 5 hours. I'm not exaggerating, without a break. And I have been chasing a concert for years that could top it. It's been a few decades. Few have come close. Prince at the Forum, Neil Young at the Greek, a different George Clinton show at House of Blues, John Lee Hooker. And as I keep the search going, I will always be using Game Time because they make it easier just to get your tickets. I mean, they have Game Time Picks, a new feature that filters out all of the flowery verbiage and just shows you great seats, the incredible deals. It saves you time. And Game Time has now an exclusive offer for the upcoming Rose Bowl, January 1st, 10% off tickets in the home corners, away corners, and end zones, making the prices even better. These exclusive zone deals are specially selected sections of the stadium where fans can find deeper discounts by letting Game Time choose the exact seats for the game. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. What time is it? Game Time.
All right, so we know it's that time of year where people are looking around for any little bit of extra cash, whatever you can come up with, whatever you need. Holiday season, you're buying stuff for people. Just everybody's got expenses. One way to get that: stop paying for stuff you don't use. I have been through this process where you suddenly really sit down and you look at it and you see how much you might be paying for subscriptions that you didn't even realize you still had. Rocket Money makes it easy to track down all of these subscriptions, these zombie subscriptions that I like to call them. It's like having a personal assistant just for your finances. It's a personal finance app that finds and cancels unwanted subscriptions, monitors spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Bring everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, even the goals that you want to hit. It's really great to have a dashboard that you can see all of these things in one place. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when you're using all the app's premium features. So if you want to start canceling subscriptions that you don't use and get some of that money put back into your pocket, you cancel your unwanted subscriptions, reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked-on. Do that today. That's rocketmoney.com/locked-on, rocketmoney.com/locked-on. So I made note of this, like what the Lakers are doing in terms of LeBron. It's one thing for the offensive struggles to subside. You kind of expect that to happen. Like at some point, LeBron's offense will come around. He's just too good to play. Even if the shooting is not quite as good as it was last season, you expect it to come around. But the defense was the part where you weren't quite sure. And the Lakers, there is a direct correlation, I think, between the improvement of what they're doing and all of that since the Miami game and the investment of LeBron James. Now, obviously, inserting Max Christie into the starting lineup makes a big difference. But it's not just that. It's the effort and the energy and the fact that they have another guy in that lineup in LeBron who is certainly, not being a negative. It was a negative to that point and is changing that dynamic on the defense. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's a team-wide thing. And I think they are all – we've talked about this before. Your teams take their cues from their leaders, and this is not unique to these Lakers. The Lakers that we covered, led by Kobe, the Kobe Powell, Lamar Odom teams, they all took their cues from Kobe. All teams do this with their superstars. And I understand, I think most people understand, that LeBron, who will be 40 in a few days, it is difficult for him to have that type of engagement on both sides of the ball over an 82-game season. I've talked at length over many seasons about how I think managing LeBron, even a version of LeBron that still plays at a high level at this stage of his career, is more complicated than people often give credit or acknowledge. And the problem is, though, even if you understand why LeBron would often pick and choose his spots defensively, there's still a trickle-down effect from it. There's still, you have to compensate for it one way or another. And if you have team-wide enough good defenders, that's one way to do it. But if you don't, and in the case of the Lakers, they are not steeped with great defenders, particularly with Jared Vanderbilt not available. There's only so much you can survive as a team when a guy playing 35 minutes a night is playing that level of disengaged defense. But also, I think even worse, it creates a permission structure for other guys to not have the necessary focus and engagement. And, I think it fed into, not that the switching defense was, the switch everything in the way they were doing it was because of LeBron. It's obviously not just because of him, but it felt like the embodiment of the type of defense that everybody was playing to that point. And LeBron has been, though, more than just engaged. He's been extremely effective. Like, he's really been quite good on that end since that point of re-engagement. And, I'd mentioned before, when I said, like, for now that he's playing at this level, I mean, I think we all need to see what it looks like a month into a regular NBA season again, when he hasn't had this type of break, or just the break in the schedule in general for the entire team, which I think has helped the entire team. But for now, LeBron has been on a consistent game-to-game basis since that return, playing at a high level of both effectiveness and engagement defensively. And it's not a coincidence that the team has followed suit, because, again, if the old man is out there playing that level of defense, you have no excuse not to get your ass on that end too.
You talk about the permission structure thing. I think there's a lot of truth to that, like, regardless of the star, whoever it is. But the flip side is particularly true with LeBron. If LeBron is outdoing it and playing hard and all that, again, in year 22, about to turn 40, and still scoring 30 points on the other side of the ball, like, you have no possibility. And I will say this, you go down the rest of the roster, and, certainly the players the Lakers had available are guys who you would expect to default to, if nothing else, playing hard. Like, you expect Austin Reaves to play hard. You expect Max Christie to do that. Cam Reddish is only on the floor to go out and be disruptive and play hard. Gabe Vincent is a guy who plays hard. He didn't shoot the ball well on Wednesday in the slightest. 2 of 7 overall, 1 of 6 from 3-point range, but he was still a +3 on the night, in part because he's playing hard. And like Dalton Connect, he's a rookie. He makes a lot of mistakes. Say what you will about him, but he's not loafing. And
Rui's been, over the last few weeks, incredibly engaged on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. He's done quite well. And so when I've talking to people, they send, messages on the Locked On Lakers chat board, whatever it might be, with the YouTube channel, or at Cam Brothers, or Blue Sky at Cam Brothers, all these different places people reach out in terms of whether or not the defense is sustainable. Like they didn't hold Golden State to 100 points in this game, and they had a big fourth quarter, in part because Steph hit some great shots down the stretch, but they let up 37 points in the fourth quarter, turned a game where they're up in double digits into something that was very close at the end. But that said, if the level of engagement can be what it is night to night, results are going to vary by game. They're going to vary by quarter. Sometimes teams are going to get hot. Sometimes they're not. You get a little lucky, you get a little unlucky, whatever. But this is the baseline level of engagement the Lakers are going to need if they're going to be, a good enough team on that side of the ball to be competitive in the West. Like, they don't need to be that stretch where they were number 1 for 5 games. They don't need to be number 1, but they can't be number 30. Like, they need to be number 10, 11, 12, whatever it is from this point forward, something in that top third or near top third. And if you can do that, then you give yourself a chance. And I think that's all what Lakers fans were hoping to see, was a defense, Andy, that could give them a chance. Because even when they were winning, when they were 26th, 27th, 28th in efficiency, yeah, the final score was okay, but long term, that's not going to be sustainable.
Well, to the point that you were making about the fourth quarter, first of all, had Anthony Davis been available, the margins might have been wider just because of what he brings defensively, but also the points that you miss from not having 80 out there. For that matter, the points that, if nothing else, you miss from not having D'Angelo Russell out there as both a scorer and a facilitator. It is worth noting, though, the fourth quarter, it truly, just thinking about the defense, it was truly Steph. The Warriors went 11 of 23 in the fourth quarter. 7 of 11 that was Steph. So if you remove Steph,
but there were some mistakes made in terms of coverage. Guys get to the basket, but it was my point.
No, but really not that many. But just so it's noted, not really that many more, because the rest of the team went 4 of 12. Right. Like, it really was largely Steph, and
that's kind of what I'm getting at, though.
Right.
Sometimes you're going to get unlucky. Sometimes the other team's going to have Steph Curry. Sometimes Giannis is going to go off. Whatever it might be, you can D up Kevin Durant as much as you want. And in certain situations, he's still going to get his 40, because he's Kevin Durant. I think when you look at LeBron, the Lakers as a team did so many little things right in this game that they needed to get done in order to win. LeBron had 10 assists. He had 1 turnover. That's huge. When Anthony Davis is gone, LeBron's got to score a little bit, but he and Reaves really become your only, your primary ball handlers, your primary facilitators, and they're doing it in a situation that also have to be your primary scorers. That's a lot to put on your plate, and they did it extremely well with LeBron only having the 1 turnover and Reaves with 3, but also against 10 assists. You're talking about 20 assists against 4 turnovers. As a team, the Lakers only turned the ball over 9 times, and they hit all 18 of their free throws. We talked about fourth quarter free throws, Andy, being an issue. They weren't an issue in any quarter. They hit all of them in this game. And, those are the little things that need to get done that good teams do. So I'm curious if you think they're making progress in any of that, or if you take some encouragement out of this game, at least in terms of finding some progress, because doing the little things over the last couple games, at least on offense, has been a problem. We'll get to that next.
Locked on Lakers is brought to you by Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash, be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investment requires risk, involves risks. Rates may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC.
If you missed it, check out the postcast of Dave Palais. Every game night the Lakers play, a little bonus content in your Locked On Lakers feed. Of course, you can subscribe to the newsletter. If you're looking at the YouTube page, you see the link in the bottom right-hand corner. Go to lockedondaily.com, subscribe to that newsletter. You get the entire show along with a lot of NBA analysis delivered to your inbox every day. And you're doing us a favor, so we appreciate it. Obviously, you could draw a through line, Andy, from the turnovers to the loss against the Pistons on Monday. That is why they lost that game. They shot over 50%. They were good from the free throw line. They were 45% or something from 3-point range. Lakers had numbers that should win you a game by a mile, and they didn't because they turned the ball over. They corrected that in a big way on Wednesday, and I think to do that is significant, to clean it up in a day. It was, at least to me, you're going to turn the ball over some in every game, but the careless ones were out of the game plan on Wednesday in ways they popped up way too often on Monday.
Yeah, there was a serious problem with it on Monday. We talked about, and I think there were people, based on a lot of the comments that we got from Monday's show, who thought that we were harping on the pace of the offense and how long it took them to get into their offense as a commentary on LeBron. And the point that we were trying to make, and perhaps not clear enough, was not really a commentary on LeBron. We were talking about how the turnovers were very often in part the byproduct of taking so long to get into their offense that they were all of a sudden up against a short clock without much time to do anything, and against a set defense that had enough time to get disruptive, which often led to bad passes, which turned into turnovers because you're often working from a place of disadvantage and desperation. It led to lousy execution through often lack of choices, which in turn led to a lot of turnovers. Tonight, I thought they did a better job just getting into what they were doing quicker. And it doesn't mean that they were running. I mean, we weren't talking about getting up and down the court fast. We're talking about just move quicker with a sense of purpose. And
yeah, I mean, look, there were times the Lakers. I just saying, like, there were times in the Wednesday's game the Lakers were both, again, we're sitting watching this game together, which we don't normally do, and we're both complaining at quick shots. Periodically Lakers come up and take really quick shots, a quick three from LeBron, a couple other ones that happened over the course of the game where you're just like, no. Don't do that. Don't speed the game up with long rebounds and things like that. So it's not that we want them to be getting up, shooting quickly 6 seconds or less. It's just, don't be so deliberate in literally bringing the ball into the other team's half and starting your offense.
Right. And this also, I think, is worth mentioning because, obviously it's not the same thing because early in their season, they were stressing the idea of Anthony Davis as the hub and AD was not available. And it actually dawns on me, we didn't even explain what happened with his injury. It was a very weird sequence where AD all of a sudden went down. And I thought upon real time that he had stepped on Trace Jackson Davis's foot, like as they were both, I think, going for a rebound. But then with the replay, it looked like a non-contact injury, like he stepped weird or something, which then gets very worrisome because you're like, oh bleep, non-contact. Does that mean something really bad? Especially once AD wasn't coming out of the locker room. But as we mentioned earlier, it turns out doesn't seem to be serious. AD is talking about playing on Saturday.
At least he doesn't. I mean, we don't know. And it's hard to say.
Well, we know he didn't tear his Achilles is what I'm getting at if he's talking about playing on Saturday.
It's a non-contact, maybe that last step was the thing that, he just had felt it at that point, or it could have been it's hard to know, especially, a guy dealing with the plantar fasciitis, like when exactly, the ankle, like if it's an ankle, where the injury happened and where you get a bad step afterwards, like there's all kinds of stuff. But like you say, if he says he's going to play, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But, that at least is a decent sign because he's been through enough of these to not to be like, we'll see. I think I'll be okay. I got to wake up. Usually they say, we'll see what it feels like when I wake up in the morning. I'm hoping it'll be all right. I expect to be able to play, but they hedge a little bit and you didn't get that from AD.
But back to the original point I was going to make, though, when bringing up AD, it's the idea that early in the season, when the offense was looking at its best, when AD was that hub, they were doing everything they were doing quicker beyond the idea of just running through AD. Like they were just getting through steps and just process faster early on. Then again, not even necessarily a question of running, but they were also not turning the ball over a lot. They're like one of the saving graces of this team for, I'd say, 2/3 of the season is they weren't turning the ball over, which matters because they had been so bad defending in transition. Like they were managing to get run on despite not turning the ball over very much. Like if they had been turning over the ball, they probably would have had 3 or 4 more losses minimum. So I think just tonight, again, they did a better job of just getting into whatever they were going to be doing and just being more decisive in general. And that, I think, as much as anything, beyond creating better offense, creates fewer turnovers. And as long as this team doesn't turn the ball over, they will generally give themselves a shot to win a game.
It was funny, like when the AD went down, I was like, it reminded me of the first season with LeBron. And, he was playing pretty well. The team was doing okay. And then he was his groin or hamstring that he blew out on Christmas against the Warriors. Right. And that was sort of the end of it. I was like, oh no, like another one of those, like not just an injury, but an injury against the Warriors. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's got to be the same script. So maybe things are turning for the Lakers in terms of injury karma, that AD, is expressing some level of confidence in being able to play on Saturday. But this was, I'm not going to say this is a get back for the Pistons loss, because when I was doing, going into this stretch of games that started with the Pistons game on Monday, you and I talked about, this 6-game stretch is an opportunity for the Lakers to at least go 4-2 and, potentially even go 5-1. I had them winning both of those games. I mean, I figured they would probably lose a game somewhere against someone. I did not think it would be the Detroit game on Monday. So turning around and winning this one, which was a more losable game, and especially in the sense that you're playing without your best player, and your best bench scorer, to not have that happen, to get out of there with a win. I don't care if Golden State is struggling. I don't care if they have fallen a long way since their really hot start. I don't care about any of that. The Lakers had to play a good game to win shorthanded on Wednesday, and they did it. And I think that is one of those encouraging things that throw some of the aesthetics out the window. Although I say the aesthetics of this game weren't that bad. A couple of slow possessions, you're missing 2 of your better scorers. I get it. And facilitators, as a post facilitator, AD is a big deal. And, D'Lo has been arguably the cleanest facilitator on the team this year in terms of assist to turnover and all that stuff. So this, to me, LeBron, I think, phrased it like he made this seem like a pretty big deal. And I think he's exactly right. It's a really good win for the team.
Yeah, it's huge. I'm not gonna make it into a win over Boston on the road or OKC on the road, but contextually, for all the reasons we described, I agree with you. I even tweeted it out at Cam Brothers. This is a huge night for the Lakers.
So we'll see what happens on Saturday. We'll get maybe a little bit more of an update on tomorrow. For Thursday going in. Thursday going into Friday and the weekend. These holidays in the middle of the week really screw up what day it is for me. Where Anthony Davis's health is, hopefully it will not be a long and sustained injury. And he will be, in fact, able to go against the slumping Sacramento Kings on Saturday. Either way, we will tell
slumping because of the Lakers. Boom!
They turned around and lost to Indiana right after that. We broke their spirit. And so we will be back tomorrow to tell you everything that we know is going on, get you ready for the weekend's games. Locked on Lakers on YouTube is where you can hang out with over 26,000 subscribers. Sign up for the newsletter, lockedondaily.com. Click on Locked on Lakers. We'll see everyone tomorrow.